amateur wrestling, I actually see honestly MMA fighters, like if you really look at really like all-time great MMA fighters, they usually have an amazing wrestling background, and there's two parts. Toughest guy I ever even thought about mixing up with wasn't he was literally he was a small guy, but he had wrestled by the time he was in high school for 3-4 years. Tough dude. He would take on guys 3 times his size and actually hold his own because he knew what he was doing. Like he was a legit badass, and I knew it even then because wrestling requires it's incredibly disciplined. There's a lot of grinding. Like where wrestling and jiu-jitsu actually are very, very similar. Is you're still trying. It's ultimately as much. It's a war of wills, but it's also a war of conditioning. Because the thing of the matter is, you like the thing about that is, okay, you're trying to. So unlike jiu-jitsu, wrestling doesn't actually bend parts where it's not supposed to go. Jiu-jitsu's not above that. Jiu-jitsu's not above that. Wrestling, you're not supposed to in wrestling.
In professional like TV.
No. Even like with the head, like even with the no. In professional, it looks like they're doing all that stuff. When you look at I see guys that shoot. They teach you initially. Don't get me wrong. There are other like, so we say, less than ethical holds that actually do some really crippling things.
My teachers have gone to like fight nights just within our dojo community where they've been like, yeah, and his bone just came out. It just pierced the leg. It twisted, and there was a bone just sticking out, meeting air. And hey, we got to see what a bone looks like. And I'm like, oh. Good to know. It's really dangerous.
Yeah. It can happen. It's not supposed to happen, but it does happen. I mean,
how hard both of you go and how determined you are to win. Be careful.
Oh, absolutely. No, the thing is, like when you like, it's about like I remember Demetrius Johnson when he was on Joe Rogan said, I love this term, cooking the beans. The idea is I try to take you down. You're gonna be like, fuck you, and then you're like, let's go, let's fight. But if I'm in better shape than you are inevitably, and let's say we're about the same discipline, we're probably not. You could probably listen. If we ever did wrestle, no balloon animals. Don't make me a giraffe or a poodle or anything like that.
There's so many ways that I can just twist your arms around and make you look like a giraffe.
Yeah, no giraffe. I don't want the neck. I'm old and brittle. The neck just isn't what it used to be, right? You can only you can only be a poodle once. You can only be a poodle once. So that's but the thing is, assuming we're at an equal skill set, it comes down to 2 parts: the mental toughness
and endurance,
and the physical endurance. And I think and both are tied together. I think so. When you cook the beans, the idea is, I get you to the point where you're physically exhausted, because once you're physically exhausted, it's easier to start. At that point, everybody becomes kind of like putty. And
we're told if your opponent is stronger than you, just wear him down. Just if you can't force him into anything and you can't sweep him or anything, just wear him down. Wear him down until he just hits the ground. And then you have a chance.
Well, not only do you have a chance, you're probably going to win, because at that point, the ability, you're not, when you're tired, that's when it's really hard to keep resisting. Now, again, everybody's got a breaking point. There's a point where just no one can go anymore, and that's the thing. Like when you look at a guy like Kurt Angle's a legit like gold medalist Olympics, he won because he put himself through some of the most. He talks about his like training regimen for the Olympics, right? And it was like, but the idea was he was smaller than most of his opponents, so he recognized the fact that I'm not going to outpower these guys, right? I'm strong, but I'm not like these guys aren't going to go where I want them to go. So what he decided to do is like, but I can outlast anybody, and that was his goal, right? Because that's the thing. Like wrestlers learn. I think wrestlers have a really good discipline of just going in, grinding, getting the work done. Like
I tell you, the grinding hurts.
Oh God, yeah. No, but that's where again, that's where your physical endurance and your mental toughness gets higher, because those are the points of in combat. Yeah, it's where you become stronger or weaker, and everybody loses. It's not about that. It's how you lose. If someone's better than you, you live with that. If someone is right, if someone's better than you, you live with that. But if you lose because you got tired and you quit, because everybody has that point.
Well, remember, that just made me think of. Do you remember the movie Monsters Inc? This is weird stuff, but
go ahead.
Mike Wazowski was just about to get into a fight or an argument or something, and his opponent was like, "You're never gonna win, and I'll make sure you never forget that because I'm so much stronger than you." And Mike was like, "Okay, sure, but nobody's going to ever let you forget that you lost to me." Those lines. So even you might be stronger, but if you got like a hot-headed, huge-headed ego about it, and the other one remains cool, nobody's gonna let the hot-headed guy forget that he lost to the pipsqueak, because the pipsqueak had better mental endurance and possibly physical endurance. It's just a massive game of chess.